Awake, awake. Daniel 12, 1-3. The voice pierces my ears, jolting me out of my sleep. It would normally take me a few minutes to fully be alert in the morning, but not today. Unlike anything I've ever heard, this piercing voice resonates deep within me. As I open my eyes, I realize I am in a confined space, surrounded by absolute darkness. My heart races, and suddenly, thoughts flood my mind. My last memory, it seems like just moments ago, were the tear-stained faces of family and my close friends, their sorrowful embraces, and the somber prayers that were whispered on my behalf as I was slipping into death. I recall my last words, "Lord, please save me." I remember that moment, as doubts and fears threatened to consume me, how I clung to my faith that Christ's sacrifice had indeed covered me, that I would stand before God with peace and live again. Now, in the darkness, a thought takes hold of me. The voice I just heard, is it? I can barely finish the thought when, suddenly, the confined space begins to shake violently, and I feel an unimaginable force pulling me upward. The ground crumbles around me, and waves of dust fill the air, propelling me upwards. I feel an indescribable surge of energy course through my entire being. Light floods my mind as if it is awakening to powers unknown to me before. The clarity of my eyesight stuns me. I look at my hands, only to find that they are no longer the hands I am familiar with. 1 Corinthians 15, verses 50-54. They glow. It is a radiant light. An overwhelming energy pulsates my entire body. I gasp for my first breath, and then I realize I have been resurrected. I've been snatched from death's jaws. O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? My heart shouts. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 55. I am aware that my senses have been heightened. Suspended in the air, I take in the incredible sights surrounding me. I look down to see graves exploding open and countless people rising from them, their bodies glowing with the same newfound radiance as mine. 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 13-16. Millions of bodies are ejected from the grave, reminding me of Jonah coming up from the belly of the fish. These are the redeemed from every age, those who died in unwavering faith, believing that Jesus would come again to rescue them from the clutches of death. John 14, verses 1-3. I am overwhelmed by the sheer beauty and power emanating from their glorified bodies. They look regal, like an army of kings and queens. All traces of sin, death, aging, disease are gone. A radiant light above us captures our attention. It is Jesus. We all bear a striking resemblance to him. 1 John 3, verse 2. He is wrapped in a glorious flame of light which brightens the midnight sky. Surrounding him is an innumerable company of chariots which begin to streak toward us, leaving blazing trails in the midnight sky. Psalm 68 and verse 17. This is our redemption, I think to myself. One of the angels of fire is heading straight toward me. The angel extends its hand to me, and I grab hold of it as this powerful being swings me up onto his chariot of fire. The fire does not burn me. I have a flashback of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace where the fire had no effect upon them. Daniel 3. I learn that this is my guardian angel who was commissioned to be by my side while I had lived on earth. I have many questions for him, but I instinctively know that this is not the time. My eyes sweep the sky, taking in the scene of the multitude of redeemed souls suspended mid-air, glorified. Then, my attention is turned to the people still standing on the earth below us. Some have faces full of dread, Revelation 6, verse 16, while others have faces lighted up with the glory of God. Isaiah 25 and verse 9. The same force that pulled us from the grave now begins to lift these living saints into the air. I realize that these are the ones who are alive to see the Lord's coming and will not taste death, but be translated instead. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17. They, too, are swept up by the chariots, their bodies transformed into perfection instantaneously. They meet us in the air, and a roar of triumph erupts from the mass army in the sky. As far as glorified eyes can see, the horizon is filled with the followers of Christ, like a massive ring encircling the globe. As I observe the earth, it is apparent that time has passed. At a glance, the world appears more advanced than when I lived on it. A realization hits me. I now understand that I have been asleep in the grave for almost 2 centuries, yet it feels like I was asleep for mere seconds. I remember nothing while I slept in the grave. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5, Psalms 115 and verse 17, Isaiah 38 and verse 1. The overwhelming peace and relief that fills my soul cannot be put into words. I see the same looks of ecstatic joy mirrored on the faces of my fellow redeemed. We are speeding upward with Christ leading the way. We look back to witness the earth becoming desolate before our very eyes. 2 Peter, chapter 3, verse 10 through 12, Revelation, chapter 15 and 16. Those who are not caught up with us are destroyed by the flood of Christ's fiery glory, just as it was in the days of Noah. Matthew 24, verses 38 and 39. Not a single person remains alive on earth. Jeremiah, chapter 4, verses 23 to 29. Revelation, chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. The righteous have been caught up in the clouds, while the wicked perish at the brightness of Jesus. They have joined those left in the grave who had not made Christ their hope. And then, a sight on the earth that causes us to shudder. For the first time, our eyes behold the unveiled persons of Satan and his fallen angels. So many were led to believe that he was merely a fictitious figure, along with the Bible itself. But now we were seeing him with our very own eyes. As we begin to move upward, an invisible force appears to chain Satan and his angels onto the earth, now desolated by the glory of God. We are told by the angels that Satan will be bound there for 1,000 years with no one to tempt, and that at the end of the 1,000 years, we will return. At which point Satan will be loosed and the wicked resurrected for one final conflict, the Battle of Armageddon. Revelation 20, verse 1 through 3, and 5 through 7. Our journey into eternity has begun. We are headed to the place Christ has prepared for us. John 14, 1 through 3, Revelation 20 and verse 4. As we leave the dark, desolated earth behind, I begin to think of my loved ones. I wonder about my family and my friends. Were they left on earth, destroyed by the overwhelming glory, or were they among this redeemed caravan, transformed by it? I scan the immense crowd, a sea of faces stretching as far as the eye can see. The sheer scale of this gathering astounds me, leaving me in awe of the diversity and beauty before me. Each pair of eyes tells a story, each face reflecting a unique background. As we advance towards the majestic city of God, the crowd stirs with a palpable energy. In this vast congregation, I witness a remarkable phenomenon unfolding. A wave of joyous recognition ripples through the crowd like an electric current as a symphony of reunions plays out before my eyes. Loved ones and dear friends, long separated by time, distance, and death, recognize one another. Children, ripped from their parents by death, are reunited with them, never to be parted again. In this crowd, no one is a stranger, a loner. For us, this is a family reunion. Every one of us is related by the blood of Christ. The tribes within the tribe of the redeemed converge, creating a tapestry of love and unity that defies human comprehension. People from every nation and tribe are here. Revelation 7 and verse 9. We recognize heroes of faith, David, Joshua, Abraham, Paul, and others within the crowd. I wonder what Abraham and Sarai must be thinking as they look at the fulfillment of the promise that their seed would be as the dust of the earth and the stars of the sky. And now here we are, literally raised out of the dust of the earth and shining as stars lighting up the midnight sky. Genesis 13:16, Genesis 15:5, Daniel 12:4. With unyielding anticipation, I search this multitude, my gaze fixated on finding my family. I remember countless conversations were spent envisioning a joyous reunion in the resurrection. hopeful yet anxious. I continue my search amidst the throng. Suddenly, a moment of shock hits me. A surge of disbelief floods my being as I realize that my brother who, when I died, had not given his life to the Lord, is making his way towards me. How miraculous this moment feels. How unfathomable. Overwhelmed by an immeasurable flood of joy, we navigate through the undulating crowd, every step bringing us closer to one another without disrupting the caravan's seamless unity. Tears of joy flow relentlessly down our cheeks, for we know that this encounter was possible only because of Christ. Yet, as I embrace him, I can't help but wonder about the hows and whys behind his being here. My heart swells with anticipation, knowing that we will have ample time to share and discover the miraculous transformation his life must have undergone. But the joyous reunion does not end here, for my eyes soon fall upon the rest of my family. My parents, resplendent in heavenly glory, stand beside my other two siblings, and they with their spouses and children. A sense of completeness washes over me, but some of our loved ones are absent from this divine gathering. To our astonishment, some whom we believed had accepted Christ remain unaccounted for, while others whom many of the redeemed thought were beyond hope have found their place among us. Tears of joy and sorrow mingle, for amidst the redeemed, a collective realization dawns upon us. The absence of loved ones, friends, and neighbors. I think of my best friend. She isn't here. After my own conversion, I would often talk to her about the Lord. She never took me seriously, but because we knew each other from childhood, we remained best friends even though our lifestyles differed drastically. The thought of her missing out on heaven hurt my soul, and I knew that hurt was multiplied infinitely in the heart of God, who was not willing that any should perish. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. Yet, being in the presence of Christ assures us that his wisdom surpasses our limited understanding, and he has made no mistakes regarding who is lost and who is saved. The questions among us multiply and intertwine, reverberating through the air as we engage in heartfelt conversations. Within the vast sea of people are those who do not yet understand what is taking place. These had never heard of Christ but had followed the promptings of the Holy Spirit without knowing. They lived lives of self-sacrifice, humility, and love for neighbor. These had the law written on their hearts without having ever read or heard of Jesus. Romans 2, verses 14 and 15. Already they were asking others about the one wrapped in glorious fire called Jesus, and especially about the wounds in his hands. Zechariah 13:16. They will have much to learn and understand and will be overwhelmed with amazement as they hear the history of the man that has purchased their salvation from the grave. It is the first hour of eternity. Anticipation is coursing through our veins, fueling our curiosity about the wonders that lie ahead. As we traverse the cosmos at the speed of light, time seems to stand still, allowing us to marvel at the breathtaking wonders of the universe as if on a celestial train ride toward everlasting glory.